Okay, good morning, my friends. We start. Okay. We start this meeting in this breakout room with the journal that we have read before, the qualitative Miss Ella qualitative research that tell about identity and language. And like we have read before, we know that identity and language are connected. And I want to ask to you about what is the factor that mean language and identity are connected. And for me, my personal opinion is meaning and culture, because in the culture, like Miss Ella tell us about the Australia culture, she said in Australia we can call lecturer, teacher, or the person that older than her, we can call their name with the first name. This is the Australia culture, and it's mean identity and language are connected because the culture is different in every country. We must know about the culture. We must know about the social norm and something like that. And the second factor is meaning. Meaning it's about for the essential example, like Miss Ella said before, they tell about she tell about the meaning of father using a papa mama or the papa or ibu. Uh, the Miss Ella say that papa or ibu is inferiority or keterbelakangan seperti itu. And they and she Miss Ella thought that papa and mama is more cool, or it's call modernity about the calling father and mother. And it's mean that every every region has a different meaning about this perspective. Like I was in uh, high school. I feel like uh, call my father and my father using papa and mama is like, I think to anak mama like that, because because it feel like this perspective of the region, maybe it feel like that. And I feel guilty because when I was in college, I am proud about that. I am proud about that because it's calling papa and mama. It's like my father and my mother give privilege that call called call their name like that. And this is the fact. This is to sum up my speech. The factor that mean language and identity are connected is meaning and culture. How about you? Maybe Joe, can you give some answer?
Yeah, thank you, Pak Adi, for giving the speech. And I think that what have you shared to us is really true because according to me and my experience when I was at for about 6 years old, I'm attending my first class in primary school, right? At that time, I also called my father and mother as Papa and Mama. But day by day, I start to learn that my friends in the school sometimes say Bapak or Ibu, or only some of them say that using Papa or Mama. After that, I learned that when I use that words, maybe I could make myself to become more when I say myself like I'm still a children or I'm still a child, look childish like that. And day by day I learn to use bapak and ibu or bapak and mama is the best. Why? Because for me, for myself, I think it is the neutral way to tell our friends or our another people that we want to tell about our parents like that. So yeah, I think for me it is also because of the culture or because of the time that we used to learn about ourselves, right? So for me, I think I really agree with your speech just now. We learn day by day about being a proper manner or being a better person than before, like that.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Jojo, for your opinion, and it's it's good. It's a good, and maybe Ami can say anything about this factor.
Uh, about the mama papa style or other.
About the language and identity are connected. What is the factor?
Um, I want to like tell about my experience. Um, like it's clear for everyone to see that whenever they know my name is Nilu Putu. Nilu Putu is like Balinese name. So many people, many of them that baru kenal often um, think that I come from Bali, but the fact is I I am from Lampung, like so they start to speak to me uh with Balinese style and like use the language like that. Um, Padahal I don't really use the language for usual because when I speak to my mother, to my family, I use bahasa Indonesia. So yeah,
Okay,
that is the example that like I have experience with. Mm-mm.
it's okay. It's the same example about the language and identity are connected, but your identity like you have maybe Balinese name and many people that stereotype it and feel like you come from Bali and like that. And thank you about it, about the sharing this experience. And maybe Lautan can share your experience about the language and identity.
Okay, so about language and identity, I agree with you, Kelvin, that I think it's related with some factors, meaning and culture. For meaning, uh, I have an experience when I talk to my friend in, she is from West Java, so we have the same word that we use, which is gedang, but gedang in Yogyakarta, so it's really different. And we have some debate about it. And I think that's what's really unique about language. And also, I think culture is really important related with both identity and language. And so culture can give us some identity, and also in the culture itself, there is a language. So I think that three of them cannot be separated with each other. And also, I think uh, I have another experience related with what you guys shared before about how you call your father and mother, papa and mama. I also watch that in television, and I think that is so cool. So I try to use that name when I call my father and mother. Like, start today, I will call you papa and I will call you mama. But it only lasts for one day. So then I start to call them ayah and ibu again. So I think, yeah, that's about culture. Uh, we cannot change it in one day, something like that. Thank you.
Yes, it's good sharing about it because I think that call it's shaped for it's shaped from when a baby and a teenage, yeah, it can change exactly change in one day. It's like that because it's like maybe heritage your warisan like that because your father or your mother call their parent with this use papa or ibu maybe because it's it's included in a culture. And the next topic that we want to share is about identity that affect with your language. Maybe for me as a Surabaya people, like when I try to speak bahasa Jawa in a Jogja, maybe I struggle with it because Surabaya and Jogja have a lot of different meaning in a in some same word, like Miss Truly said about like a Mari, and maybe uh, has a different, maybe it sounds same but it's different because I struggle with it when I say like a sampean because I feel like I want to be more polite with use this sampean, but in Jogja we use this panjenengan maybe like that, and it's mean like uh, identity that affect my language. Like uh, I I think for me as a Surabaya people, like I use koe or I use kamu in Surabaya is use kon like that, not using koe because it's feel like a different homophone maybe because in this type of Jogja I can use this because like I feel like guilty or sin because use of koe or gue because my identity is come from Surabaya because like that because I feel like I don't want to say it. I I just use kamu or maybe kau instead of using koe or maybe some like lu gue like that. It's my identity. It's my personal to be connected with my heritage, my suku like that. Maybe I think it's a personal. Maybe some of you has a similar experience. Maybe you can share about it. Maybe Lautan, you can share about this experience about identity identity and a language?
I think my experience is that when I studied in West Java, my friends know that I'm from Yogyakarta, and they thought that I'm gentle or a graceful person because I think it's similar. They have this similar stereotype with people from Solo, like how people from Solo is usually their character is graceful, like what Miss Ella said, Putri Solo, things like that. So, but for me, I think that I'm not really uh, fit into that stereotype because I cannot speak Bahasa Jawa very well. Like my my knowledge about Bahasa Jawa is very limited because my parents usually use Bahasa Indonesia mostly since when I was a kid. So I think that kind of stereotype is always there in our society. I think in any culture they have that kind of stereotype, and I think it depends on each individuals because, well, we have different experience, right, about our culture. And, well, I think sometimes I feel like what I told Kelvin before, I feel like I'm half Japanese just because I cannot speak the English, just because I cannot speak the Japanese language well. But I think it's that kind of perspective is
Okay, thank you, Lautan. And I have a same experience like Lautan because I was for when I was child, I never used this Java language maybe because uh, I stay or alive in a multicultural society because my neighbor or my saudara is like from Kalimantan, Sumatera, and etc. Maybe my mother of language is bahasa Indonesia, but I feel like guilty because I can connected with my Javanese Javanese heritage maybe because I can spoke in Java language politely and I can spoke bahasa krama maybe because I didn't use it in my family because this is my mother of language is bahasa Indonesia and I feel like I want to connect it with it because my identity say like we need the culture because the culture give the identity to us and maybe Ami can share about her identity because about the language. So, Ami, let's.
Um, yeah, um, like I've already said before that I don't really use Bahasa Bali because like my parents tend to use Bahasa Indonesia for our daily life like that. Um, but um, when I was in elementary school, a lot of my friends is Japanese, are Japanese, I mean. So, like we we speak to each other like um, with mixed language. I mean, in Bahasa and also in Japanese. So um, I can speak Japanese also, but I cannot speak in bahasa Bali. So yeah, maybe in like the environment also mempengaruhi so that like I speak Japanese, not Balinese. That was my experience when I was in elementary school. Therefore, when I came to Jogja and like I met you all, I already know about like when all of you use bahasa Jawa, and I understand about that. I understand the meaning of it.
Okay, good. Good sharing about it, and thank you. I think when we stay in a multicultural region like Jogja or Surabaya, maybe we can hear the mixed language. We use the Indonesia and Javanese. Maybe in Lampung use this mixed language because social environment. This is called the culture of the region maybe because I think this is the development of the language in this area in the in this area maybe because hmm, the culture itself is so menarik to discuss about it and maybe Juju can share about it about the identity and language.
Okay, thank you, Kelvin, for the time. So, yeah, I ever feel it happened when I'm playing games with my friends here at Batam. So we usually say the words "cuk," "woi cuk," "hey cuk," like that, right? And uh, for me and my friends in Batam, it is just a normal word. Yeah, just like a "woi bro," "woi cuk." It's the same. But when I play games with my friends in Java, especially Jogja, when I say "woi cuk, ada musuh nih," like that, they feel like, "Whoa, this person is so rude," because for them the word "cuk" means a different language, a different meaning, right? Can be a bad things or some things like uh, insulting them like that. But then after the games, I explained to them that I'm sorry that I used the words that I spoken before because for the first time I think we all we all use the same word for uh, explaining that or calling our friend's name, right? So for the instance, I use bro or cuy. That's to alternate the words cu that I have already said. Why? Because here I think that cultures and identity also explain the people about someone. Before I apologize to them, maybe they will state me as a rude person or a hard person. Why? Because in my current neighborhood, we use that words as a daily words. No, so people or our friends will hear that as a greetings or just like, yes, bro, I know you use that words because well, we are very close or we are very best pal like that. But when I transfer to Jogja, I use that words and then they say that I come from a hard or rude neighborhood like that at the first time. But here I need to explain them first about the use of that word so then they can understand and they can judge me without having to look that I'm rude or I'm a hard person like that. So for me, from my own experience, I think that identity is really into ourselves. Our language, our identity is because of what are we are speaking to them, and then they can judge us, they can know us from what did we speak. From there we could learn about, before we come to their region or we come to their culture, we have to study first or learn first about their culture, because after we are learning from their culture, we can understand how do they speak, how do we speak to them properly, and how do we guide our manner to them. So then we can proper ourselves there without losing our own identity. Like that, Pak. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Juju, for the sharing. And I think because people can justification us about their stereotype, like cho use we use cho because I don't know, because some people feel like it's so rude because it like I don't know. I don't think so because yeah, maybe in Jogja it feel like road. Okay, and maybe for Juju, Lautan, and Ami, do you have any question about it? Maybe we can discuss in this few minutes. Maybe do you have any question?
Uh, since I read the like the discussion and also the text that given to us, people will speak like politely to other people that have um, higher level of society than them. But um, like in my opinion, many people that is like having lower level of society also like have a good ability to speak to speak politely, to speak like appropriately like that. So what do you think about that? uh do we can we judge people just by like by their way of speaking to each other, like gimana ya maksudnya? I'm sorry, I speak Indonesia. Bisa nggak sih kita tuh judge people cuma lewat bahasanya, tapi tuh nggak semua yang bisa ngomong dengan politely itu have higher society gitu. You get it?
Yeah, yeah, I get it, I get it. But I just feel confused about it because some people some people use used to say politely because they feel like more small, maybe because for me I think I use politely because I talk with more I talk with older than me and or have a higher social status than me. I use this politeness, but I don't think about the people judge me easily because I can speak maybe slowly because I don't think about the people thoughts maybe for me because I think for me it's let people judge other people like they want maybe for me because because it's for me. Maybe Juju can say anything about it, share your opinion about it because I can't share anything maybe.
Okay, thank you, Pak D. I will try to share my opinion to Ami and also my friends here. So, for me, I have ever experienced that I feel a little bit confused when I want to greet my younger friends or younger person, because sometimes if we see older person, we will respect them, right? But how about the younger person? The answer is yes, we should also respect them, but how to call them? I prefer using some greetings like bro, sis, or maybe in our culture we use mas or mbak. Even they are younger than us, we usually say mas or mbak because we don't know that he is uh, sorry, because we if we use kak or dek, we don't know exactly how old is he or she, right? So then we neutralize untuk membuat menjadi netral. Nah, after that, about the judging people because of the language, sometimes we can judge people from the way they speak, but we can't just judging them from there. Why? Because to judge or to score or to know the people, we have to know their background, and also we have to know what do they have done in their life. So therefore, before we judge, maybe we should understand first about the people. Even we already know that the way he or she speaks is like this, but we didn't know about he or her background, right? So the first thing we have to do before we want to judge people is understanding him or her first, like that. That's from me. Maybe Lautan can add more explanation
Okay,
or
thank you,
based on
Cucu.
her experience. Thank you.
Maybe Lautan.
I think in my in my opinion, I think it's normal if we have some first impressions for people. For example, uh, when I first met John and listen how he speak to other, and I think, well, I built some stereotype about John, about how people, how they talk, and I think it's related about culture, and that is his culture, and I think it is normal to judge, but I think it is wrong if we, like, our what is our action next if we hate someone just because we listen to how they speak to another, and of course because language brings some culture, right? Like our bring that stereotype, and that's normal. But if we just, I think it's not right because we haven't know them because, well, everyone have personal experience about their culture, right? So I think that's all from me. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Lautan, for sharing. But I can add something about maybe when person or people use type of language, they have they have to be develop their language to increase increase their voice, to increase their wibawa, maybe because uh, language itself is like it's like our identity, our identity to like introduce to something like when something like when you ngelamar or get into to the job, maybe you used to speak used to speak maybe politely, slowly, but you have to say like straight to the point, like maybe like that, because this is show your identity. Maybe because of your language you can show your identity, uh it's like that. I think maybe Ami, can you can say anything about it?
Sorry, Kelvin.
No, no, you can add something about our responses.
Yeah. Um. Sorry.
Hello, okay.
Yeah.
You can add something about your
Thank
response
you.
about our opinion.
I think the three opinion of all of you is already answering my questions. Um, but actually, I have one more question.
Okay.
Can I ask it?
Yeah, let's. Okay, Ami, you can see.
Can I can ask it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yes, we.
You
Okay, okay. Uh, we all have our own identity, right? So, for example, like me, I moved to Jogja to like continue my college life. So, but before I went to Jogja, I have my own accent. So I thought that when I when I um, when I have a willingness to stay in Jogja, I have to adapt to their language or maybe their accent. In your opinion, should I use Jogja accent, or do I have to mempertahankan my own accent from my town? Because I have seen many like many examples when I was in Jogja. Like people usually don't want to change, like don't want to mengadaptasikan uh, their accent or maybe their way of speaking to people who lives in Jogja. I mean, like they still use like Kologwe or their region language like that. What do you think about that? What should we do as like as orang yang pindah ke Jogja gitu?
okay? Thank you. It's a good question. Maybe Jojo can answer first because Jojo also came from Batam. We did survive in Jogja for a while. Okay, let's Jojo say anything.
Okay, thank you, Pak Ade. Thank you, Ami, for the question. Could you please re-explain first the question because I heard it not clear just now.
Maybe I will help Ami or
Okay.
Ami can say. Okay, Ami.
We have our own identity when before we went to Jogja, right? So we use our own accent. Like you, Jojo from Batam, you have your own accent, and also me. So uh, when we came to Jogja, uh, we thought about gimana kalau we change our accent. I mean, like we adapt our accent so we can communicate well and like gak canggung with the native people who lives in Jogja like that. So what do you think about that? Should we as orang yang should we as non-native people in Jogja change our accent or not? I mean, many of them, like I saw many of them still mempertahankan their own accent or maybe their way of speaking with other. Jadi dia masih nyamain kayak waktu dia di daerah asalnya like that. So they still use like lo gue or maybe their other region language like that. Should we change or adapt Jogja accent or not?
Okay, thank you, Ami, for the explanation. So, for me, I think we don't have to change our accent. No, we don't have to change our identity. Why? Because that's our real identity. We have to defend it, and also we have to show the people that we have our own identity, so they can also respect. We can also respect each other, and then they could also learn about our identity. So, for example, like me, I come from Batam to Jogja. Maybe I will change my accent and dialect while I'm speaking to them, but when they also want to speak to me, sometimes I also teach them about the culture of Batam. For example, when I want to go to the PKL with my friends, when my friends ask me what drinks you want to order, and I said I want to order teh obeng. So teh obeng in Batam means es teh. Then they will also study from us, from me especially, that uh, we have other different culture than just our culture. Then just in Jogja, we have another or beragam kebudayaan. Different culture may also be affected in them. So we from abroad students like me from Batam or you from Lampung coming to Jogja, we shouldn't have to change at all. So what I mean change at all here is we keep prevent our identity, but we menyesuaikan with them. We adapt with their culture, so then we can also work together. We are not so confused or nervous when we want to speak to them. So they teach us, we teach them. So that's all from me. I think when you want to speak or when you are feeling nervous, try to adapt with them. And when you are feeling like I can learn that one, I can learn this one from them, then they will do the same to us like that.
Okay, thank you, Jojo, for your responses about it. And I think I have some I have same opinion with Jojo. Like I said before, like I can I we don't have to like we don't have to change our identity because we have our own identity. And for maybe the solution is like we can use the type of mixed language like Ami said before in their experience. I think I use this mixed language when I use bahasa Indonesia and Javanese. Maybe we can use it, but we have our own identity like my example before. I say like I don't want to say lu gue or maybe uh koe or something like that because I have my own identity in use aku kamu or aku kau like that because people will adapt with our identity, maybe because I think in Jogja itself is multicultural culture and person, like many humble person in Jogja will adapt with our identity, and I think it's the reason that I didn't change my identity, and maybe Lautan can share their experience in West Java, maybe. Okay.
Okay, so in my opinion, I think I agree. I also agree with what Jojo said and Kelvin said that it is totally okay that if you want to use your own language, I think it's some using your own language in our culture or our society. It's like I think language is something like our pride, right? That it makes us proud by using our language because it is one of the way to show our identity because of course when we proud to of our culture and we can use our language in new like new place like when Ami, Jojo and Calvin come to Jogja. And I think what related with adaptive, I think it's related more with the norms about the norms, how we should live here. But for the language, I think I think there is no problem about using your own language or you don't want to learn, right? Like adapt the accents or something like that. And I think it is said by Calvin before because we have a lot of diversity, so we can use Indonesian language just as long as we can communicate with each other, the different language or different accents. I think that's uh, there's nothing wrong about it. That is for me. Thank you.
Okay, and this is our response about your question. I mean, maybe you can add something, or maybe you can
Yeah, thank you so much for answering my questions because, like people who live there think that
Also, Ms. Rafira mentioned that identity is fluid. Yeah, it is constantly changing. Do you think so, that it is actually fluid and also constantly changing?
yes, yes,
Yes,
Miss.
Miss.
All right. Have you experienced that? Have you experienced uh, or have you been aware of how your identity changes?
Maybe for me, as a Surabaya persons, I can't use Javanese language fluently because in Jogja and Surabaya have a different different meaning or different vocabulary with my Surabaya accents, maybe uh, because when I use Javanese language and in Jogja, my friends will misunderstood, or maybe uh, didn't know something, didn't know many words didn't know many words meaning, maybe like that, because this is my awareness about it.
All right, thank you, Kevin. So you position yourself when you are with Yogyakarta
Yeah.
people, yeah, with your friends here in Yogyakarta, yeah. So I think that's an example of what is that? Adjustment, identity positioning, yeah. And yeah, before I leave this group, yeah, because our time is running and I have to visit other groups, perhaps you can also think about your situation as second language or foreign language learners. Yeah, how learning English shape your identity? How has it define your identity? Does it change you? All right. So I'm gonna let you discuss that, yeah, and also other discuss other things or other concepts related to your roles. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna join other groups,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you, Mr. Lee.
Thank you,
Thank
Miss.
you.
Okay. I didn't understand what Miss Truly said. You can say, or maybe you can explain me about the question. Maybe Juju, Lautan, or Ami.
Wants us to discuss about how English, because we learn English, right? How English influence.
Okay, maybe the other member can answer it, because my connection is unstable when Lautan explain about it. Sorry about. Okay.
Okay, I'll try to answer it. So, just now Lautan explained that does English really change our identity because of it, right? So for me myself, I think English language doesn't change my identity. Why? Because I use English language when I speak in front of the classroom or with my classmates or where I am in the class. But when when in my daily life or daily speaking, I use Indonesian language and my region language. So uh, from me, I think to make that English language doesn't affect us is balancing between both of the cultures. Sometimes we use English, sometimes we use Indonesian. So we won't suddenly make ourselves like being a Indonesian English person. For example, like we speak like together with our friends, suddenly we said like this. Oh jadi kemarin lu udah hang out with him kemana aja like that. So sometimes it will make us it will make really know English or really understand about English, or is this person really understand about Indonesian language, or vice versa like that. So to avoid that, maybe balancing is the key. So we know when do we speak English and when do we speak Indonesian, so then we won't lose our identity like that.
Okay, thank you, Juju, for the answer. And maybe Ami, you can share your answer.
Prodi Kutu PBI like that. So they think that wow, you can speak English fluently like that. So, pokoknya sorry, they but the fact is No, I mean like we are all still learning. So therefore we are you know like choose. Hi.
Halo.
Dengar nggak tadi?
Dengar kau dengar.
Kedengar. Yes, I hear you.
Okay. My my connection is unstable. Maybe Lautan can share about it because we have limited minutes.
Okay. Oh, I'm still confused about it actually because, well, I sometimes use English, but I think it doesn't really change my identity. But I only use English in for educational purpose, like in college when we have lessons, or sometimes I use some phrases or words that cannot be explained with Indonesian language. Well, I think it's just like that for me. That's all.
Okay.